Welcome to my series on fractions. This video is for my student Destiny. She wants to understand how to multiply and divide fractions. So I've taken up examples, many of them for both multiplication and division. Let us see how to multiply and divide fractions. We'll begin with very simple examples as shown here on the very first page. You can actually pause the video, copy these questions, try them out, and then check with my answer. The very first one here is 1 over 3 times 1 over 3. Now, whenever you multiply fractions, you have to multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. That is to say, multiply these two terms, write their answer, and also multiply the ones in the denominator, right? So these are the denominators. So once you multiply, what do you get? 1 times 1 is 1 and 3 times 3 is 9. So 1 over 9 will be your answer. So I hope the process is clear. So let's do it once again. This time we are going to multiply 2 over 3 with 1 over 5. Steps are: multiply the numerator, write down your answer in the numerator, which is 2 times 1, 2, and then multiply the denominator. Here it is 3 times 5, and write down 15. Normally it works perfectly fine. Now let's move on and take more examples, and as we work with these examples, we'll modify our way of multiplying fractions. So what should I do? Yes, I should multiply 2 and 3 to write down in the numerator, then 5 and 4, write down the product in the denominator, right? So we have two parts of fraction, that is numerator, this is denominator. 2 times 3 is 6 and 5 times 4 is 20. So we get 6 over 20 as our answer. Now here, let's take a break. Let's read the question once again. It says, write answer in the simplest form. Well, you are familiar with fractions. 6 over 20 could be simplified, right? We could divide both by 2. If I divide this by 2, that is to say, if I divide this by 2 and also the denominator by 2, what do I get? Dividing by 2, I get 3 in the numerator, right? And dividing 20 by 2, I get 10 in the denominator. So my answer really is 3 over 10 in the simplest form. So for C, the correct answer will be 3 over 10. So here, what we did was, we multiplied the numerators as we did earlier, also the denominators as we did earlier. However, there were common factors, and then we simplified. Well, we could have simplified first and then multiplied. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to introduce here is a change, and that is, step number 1 will be simplify, and step number 2 will be multiply. Let's do with that change now, right? So we'll now do 4 over 5 times 15 over 12. Simplify means cancel the common factors or divide by common factors. Now if you see 4 and 12, 4 times 1 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12. Do you see that? There is a common factor of 4 by which you can simplify 4 over 12, write it in lowest terms, kind of 1 over 3. Does it make sense to you? Can you simplify it further? I think you can. You can divide 5 into 15 and you get 3 here and 1 there. Now, can you simplify it further? Yes, I think we can. We can divide both these 3's also by one another, getting 1 and 1. Getting 1 and 1. So that results into what? See, 1 times 1 is in the numerator. So now in the numerator, we are going to multiply these two ones. And for the denominator, we are going to multiply these two ones. The answer is 1 over 1. As you know, 1 over 1 should be written as just 1. Do you get it? So that is how you should be doing it. Now, as a practice, I would like you to copy the next 4 questions. Try to simplify them and then multiply. Correct? And I'll show their solutions in the next page. So let's take up these 2 examples. So what should you do? First step is to simplify. Correct? So first step is simplify. Simplify really means you have to divide both numerator and denominator by something which is same. Now in this case, you can divide 2 by 2, right? So 2 by 2, when you divide, you get 1 and 1 here. And also you will notice that if you divide 3 by 3, you also get 1 and 1. And now multiplying the numerators and the denominators, what is your answer? You can write down your result, which is equal to 1 over 1 or just 1. Correct? That was simple. Now, if you get 1 as your result, we could also say 2 over 3 is reciprocal of 3 over 2. So whenever you have something like that, for example, if I multiply 4 over 5 with 5 over 4, flip it, right? And then you multiply, then you get just 1 as your answer. So that's a very important conclusion. Okay, now let's do the next one and try to simplify first and then multiply. You can actually pause the video, answer, and then look into my solution. Now these are slightly bigger numbers, right? So let's see how you can do it. Now let's try to do one by one. 25, 75, you know, there are 3 quarters. So it could go 1 times 3. So 25 is kind of simpler. Some of you could do it in 2 steps. Now I'll do many step process for 36 and 48 to show you how we can do simplification in steps. Now these are even numbers, right? They could be divided by 2. So let's divide by 2. We get half of 36 as 18 and half of 48 as 24. Now we can further divide them by 2. Both are even numbers. We get 9 here and 12. Now 9 and 12. Can we simplify this further? I think we can. We can divide both by 3, right? So 3 times 3 and 3 times 4. Now you can see that we have 3 and 1 in the numerator. Denominator has 1, 3 and 4. Now these two can also be simplified. So it is not necessary where it is placed diagonally or right below it. It could be anywhere, but it can be simplified. So let's cancel these 3's and write 1 instead. Now I think we have the simplest form. So we'll multiply the numerators, which are just 1 and 1 for us, and the denominators, which is 4 times 1. So we get 1 over 4 as our answer. I hope you also got the same answer, right? Now we are almost at the end of this multiplication exercise. After this, we'll begin with the division, correct? So copy this question and try it out. Let us see how to solve it. First step, simplify. So let's try to simplify 21 and 27. Do you think something is common? If I add 2 and 1, I get 3. 2, 7 is 9. So both can be divided by 3. Dividing by 3, I get 7 here. And dividing by 3, I get 3 times 9 as 27. Okay. How about 16 and 32? Well, 32 is twice 16. So we could just go like this, 1 times 2. Do we have anything else common? I don't think so. So now what we can do is we can straight away write down our answer. 7 times 1 is 7. 9 times 2 is 18. So that is the answer. Perfect. Let's do the last one here. Now here, 15 and 45, we can divide these two by 5. So 5 times 3 and 5 times 9. You can further divide this by 3. So we get 1 and 3. Now these numbers could also be simplified. We can actually also divide 24 by 3. So let's do that part. 24 goes 8 times with 3. 8 and 16 are also related. Twice 8 is 16. So simplification, as you can see, is a very good process. It really helps you to get correct answer without even using calculators. So here, when we divided 8 into 16, we got 1 in the numerator, 2 in the denominator, times 1 is just 1, and denominator we are left with 2 times 1, so it is half. So with that, we come to the end of this exercise. Now, to give you some practice questions, let me write down here 30 over 32. 30 over 32 times 45 over 75. Correct? So you could simplify these portions and then multiply, right? So let me give you one more. Let us say we have 18 over 45 times 20 over 21. Correct? So practice solving or simplifying the result of multiplication. So I hope that gives you a good overview of how to multiply fractions. And now we'll take a few examples of dividing fractions. Now, Destiny, let's understand what is division. Division is reciprocal of multiplication. So we can write division is reciprocal of multiplication. What does that mean? It really means that if I'm saying divide by 2 over 7, it should be multiplied by 7 over 2. Correct? So with that in mind, I would like you to go through these questions, copy them out, and try to find their solution. So the question for you here is, write answer in the simplest form, and these are your division questions. 3 over 5 divided by 2 over 7, 2 over 3 divided by 1 over 5. So in these questions, first step should be write each one of them as multiplication. So what I'm trying to say is, you could write this as 3 over 5 times, reciprocal means flip it, right? So 7 comes on the top, 2 comes in the denominator. So that is the first step. So first step is to write each division question as multiplication. So we could write this as 2 over 3 times 5 over 1. Does make sense to you, right? Next one, 2 over 5 times 15 over 4. Correct? Likewise, do for all. So we have 5 over 6 times 24 over 15. So in this process, we have written all division as multiplication. Since you know how to multiply, I think you can do all of them. And that could be your practice question, right? So that's how you do it. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Let me know if there is a difficulty. Write as comments, okay? The last one is 15 over 16. So you have to write the first term as such. You have to flip the next one, which comes after division. Very important to understand, right? Not both of them, just the last one. So we have learned that division is reciprocal of multiplication, and each and every question where you have division could be rewritten as multiplication. So flip the number or the fraction which comes after division sign with a multiplication sign as shown here. Now let us see how to solve these questions one by one. So we'll take up the first two. 3 over 5 divided by 2 over 7. First step, write it as multiplication, right? So we should write this as 3 over 5 times 7 over 2. And now, can we simplify it? All are prime numbers, it cannot be. So we just multiply. 3 times 7 is 21 and 5 times 2 is 10. That becomes the answer. Let's do the next one. It is 2 over 3 divided by 1 over 5 really means multiply by 5 over 1. Now these are also prime numbers, so we could just multiply them and write our result as 10 over 3. So is that clear? Correct? So let's move on and take up the next two questions, which are part C and D. 2 over 5 divided by 4 over 15. First step, write it as multiplications. We'll write this as 2 over 5 times 15 over 4. Can you simplify it? Yes, you can. You see that 5 goes 3 times in 15, so you could divide both by 5, writing 1 here and 3 there, right? So 3 times 5 is 15. On the other hand, you could simplify 2 and 4. 1 times 2, 2 times 2. Now we can write down the answer, which is 1 times 3 is 3 and 1 times 2 is 2. So that is the result of dividing 2 by 5 by 4 over 15. Perfect. Let's do the next one. I hope you find it simple and easy to use. So first step, times, flip it, 24 over 15. We are only flipping one term, which is after division. Now, can you simplify? Yes. 5 times 1 and 5 times 3. As far as 6 is concerned, 6 times 1 and 6 times 4 is 24. Clearly, the answer is 4 times 1 divided by 3 times 1, right? It is not necessary but good to write equal to signs as we move, right? Now, the last two for you to do. You can actually pause the video, do them yourself, and then look into my solution. That will help you. So what we have here is 2 over 3. Division should be written as multiplication of reciprocal 3 over 2. Well, this is very interesting. You will note that 2 and 2 cancel. You get 1s here. On the other hand, 3 and 3 also cancel out, leading to 1 over 1. So as you know, when you divide with the same number, you get 1 as your result. So division by same number, as expected, should give you 1. Correct? 2 over 3, 2 over 3 are exactly same numbers. So let's first step rewrite this as multiplication. 36 over 75 times 100 over 21. Can you simplify it? So try to simplify this and then check with my simplification. 75 and 25, you know, quarters, 3 quarters and 4 quarters. So it's easy. Consider quarters when you divide. How about 36 and 21? Can you divide them by same numbers? I think we can divide them by 3. Well, 3 times 7 is 21, 3, 1, 3, and 3 times 2 is 6. So that's what we get. We can actually simplify it further, dividing 12 by 3. So if you do that, what do you get? 4 over 1. So now we can't simplify further. Let's multiply 4 and 4, getting 16 in the numerator, 7 times 1 in the denominator. That becomes the answer. Last two questions for you now. Pause the video, simplify them, and then write down the result in simplest form. Here is how you're going to do it. You will first write them as multiplication, right? That's kind of a review of what we have done. 14 over 18, correct? Same you're going to do with the next question, which is 15 over 16 times 32 over 25. Now we need to simplify. Let's see, how can we divide each one of them? So, well, you could do 3 times 7 and 3 times 6 is 18. That's one thing you could do, right? Now 6 and 14 are even numbers. You could actually divide them further by 2. So you get 7 over 3. Now 7 could go into 35, right? 7 times 1 and 7 times 5. That, I think, is the simplest form. No other common factors. 7 times 1 is in the numerator. 5 times 3, which is 15, comes in the denominator. Perfect. The last one. 15 could be divided by 5. 5 times 3. 25 by 5. 5 times 5. 16 goes 2 times in 32, giving us the result 3 times 2, 6 over 5. Perfect. So I hope with this you must have mastered the technique of multiplication and division of fractions. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.